we have been talking about the title race, and something we haven't really spoken about is two teams who, historically, have been challenging for the Premier League title, but at this moment in time are way below par where they would want to be. And I'm talking Chelsea and I'm talking Manchester United. Both teams ended up with draws in their respective games this weekend. Chelsea twice took the lead against Burnley, only for 10-man Burnley then to fight back for a 2-2 draw. Manchester United likewise had a late goal at Brentford. Probably would have thought they would have sealed that victory, but in the end Brentford got a 1-1 draw out of that one. And something interesting that both managers have had to say is talking about their players and lacking maybe passion, maybe desire, maybe aggression as well. Let's hear from Erik ten Hag then on what he had to say about his team following that draw in West London.
We show resilience all through the game, but in points of aggressiveness, Brentford was better. And we should show more passion and desire in many moments in the game. But as I say, when you're winning the game, and then you should bring it over the line. But also, when you don't play well, you still have to win, and we did it almost. And that is my big disappointment, that you have to bring it over the line. And as I say, we didn't play well, but there was spirit, there was fight, but not enough.
Chelsea and Manchester United take on each other on Thursday with this busy midweek of Premier League action. 8:15 it kicks off at as well. And I mentioned the late goals. There were late goals in this one. Mason Mount scored his first goal for the club in what was it, the 6th minute of added on time. And then 3 minutes later, Christopher Ajer equalised for the home side. But he's talking there about the aggressive nature of both teams. And he's saying Brentford had more of that. They were the better side when it came to that aggression. Something Mauricio Pochettino's also spoken about. He said we weren't aggressive enough in their draw with Burnley and open play and defending set pieces, and we need to improve like a team and be more competitive. We had Jody on, the Arsenal fan, talking about passion. These are the kind of key words, the buzzwords that you would use and expect, wouldn't you, that your team would have anyway, that they would have that natural passion, drive, aggression to win at all costs, really.
Are you surprised? I'm not.
Go on.
You try and predict that result on Thursday, Chelsea, Man United.
Yeah,
you haven't got a clue how both teams are going to play.
No.
Different reasons. Chelsea have got a load of young players who find it hard to... Well, they've got no experience, really. Not enough to come back from adversity and know how to get a 7 out of 10 every week, which experienced players know. Man United, you can go back 5 years and they've still not sorted the problem out. They give the job to Ollie. Ollie's gone in there. He spent 3 years. Have they spent 1.5 billion, something like that,
yeah,
since Fergie left. So they've had enough time and enough money to have a better group of players than they've got on the pitch right now. Mm-hmm. And the least you expect is if you give me everything every week and you turn up and you look after yourself during the week and give yourself every possible chance to play well on Saturdays, and I pick you, and you're giving me everything, and I can see you want to win, it's impossible to have a bad game for me. That's what I used to say to the players. Mm-hmm. I look at some of them players at Man United who are still there. I mean, what you bringing Harry Maguire on as sub? He's tried to sell him 6 times. He's tried to sell Wan-Bissaka. The players know. Mm. They should have cleared the decks a long time ago. You've still got players in your team who are not at the races every week. Some days they try, some days they don't. And then you start seeing the shining light on the club and you think, Højlund and Garnacho look like they're playing for Man United shirt. They look like they want to win, they want to chase lost causes, they want to score goals. They look like they've got the bit between their teeth. And then you watch them against Brentford, the two of them. Højlund looked like your under-17 striker, couldn't get hold of the ball. And Garnacho was just invisible, getting brushed aside from everything. You got Rashford. I don't know how he's going to play week in, week out. No idea. Looks like he's not enjoying his football. Fernandes keeps running out of position, empty in the middle midfield. That's why they like a sieve. That exposes Casemiro. I mean, I know he never started, but Casemiro's lack of pace, Eriksen's lack of pace, both class players who are winners, proven winners. But if you wide players don't work hard and don't run back, Anthony doesn't run back, Rashford doesn't run back. If your wide players don't run back, your fullbacks get exposed and end up out the club. your two centre midfield players get dragged out there. Casemiro gets dragged out on the flanks. You can see he's not quick. You can see he can't run. But if he stays in the middle of the pitch, he can dictate games with his brain. And Eriksen, the passing and brain. But for me, Fernandes has been there too long. I know people are going to say, well, you can't have a go at him. His stats are good. But captain and empty in the middle midfield, it's like playing with a number 10 who don't run back. That's where he's playing at the minute. So they've got centre-backs. Johnny Evans was playing in front of Maguire. Shaw played in front of Maguire. I think Jones played in front of Maguire. Varane and Martinez, they've had a few injuries. The goalkeeper, De Gea, still not got a club. Stayed at the club 3 years too long. It needs sorting. If the generals and the colonels can't get it right, the soldiers can't win the war. And upstairs, it's not right. Hopefully Jim Ratcliffe comes and he's come in. Hopefully he gets it sorted and they make the right decision. Yeah, I can make 4 good decisions for you now because it needs clearing the decks. They need a new team.
Let's hear it.
Sign Tony and Burmo, Mitoma and Lewis Dunk. Sign them 4. There we are. There's 4 players who turn up every week. Ivan Toney and Burmo, Mitoma and Dunk. And by the way, watching that game against Brentford the other day, if you just swap the shirts over. If the Brentford players put Man United shirts on, Brentford are a miles better team than Man United. How can that be possible?
Well, listen, if any a game with stats points towards how much Brentford had dominated that game, it was certainly that one. I mean, they had, 85 touches in United's box in comparison. I think it was to just 16 from the visitors to that one.
It's not good enough.
It's not good enough. But
McTominay tries. And please, Mason Mount scored a goal because he must be thinking, what have I walked into here? The expectation is through the roof, and we've got a team of expensive players who don't turn up every week.
Well, I guess he hoped he was walking into a club that was in a better position than the one that he left, Chelsea. But they are likewise in a similar position. In fact, in a worse position because of where they are in the table. They're in 11th on 40 points. Manchester United 8 points ahead of them. We had a message in here from Matt, a Chelsea fan, who was talking about the passion and the great call from Jody earlier on. He says, Chelsea, American owners thought football here in the MLS is like MLS, and what we have is just that, low-intensity exhibition football with a similarly low-intensity manager, completely reflected in the players.
Well, again, the generals and the colonels. Todd Bowley, in charge of the massive decisions. It's like Rashford having a Rolls Royce, 700 grand Rolls Royce. Todd Bowley in charge of Chelsea hasn't got a clue what he's doing.
Are these two clubs, with these two managers, going through the motions to get to the end of the season, and will these two managers be in charge come the new season? No,
they've gone in a clothes shop and spent an absolute fortune on clothes, got them home, tried them on, and they don't fit. None of them. That's what they've done.
And they've not taken them back.
Not taking them back, still got them. Can't take them back, not allowed.
No.
So they've signed players. They've gone down the route of let's sign young players and bring them on and have a long-term project with Graham Potter. A three-year trust the process. That's what they call it now. It used to be a plan, didn't it?
Yep.
Now it's called trust the process. So we're going to have a 3-year trust the process with Graham Potter. He's a great coach.
Yeah.
I said at the time, if you lose 6 games, the fans will get you out. Any club, you're gone. There's no long-term project at Chelsea. They have to have ready-made players. Arsenal have got no kids in the team. Neither of Man City. The starting lineup are men who are proven. Liverpool, men who are proven. The starting lineup. I'm on about you can bring kids in like Bradley comes in for Trent. They do well in a little short period, but the class players turn up every week. And Chelsea have got too many players who, I mean, I've started to question, are they good players? The young, are they good? I'm not so sure.
Well, Pochettino has said that a lot of his players are nervous right now. They're not dealing with the pressure of playing for a club of Chelsea's stature. I think that's an issue in itself that he's talking about that, because surely as a manager, it's his job to calm those nerves. You'd have thought.
I'll give you an example. I remember signing for Liverpool, and I was in the dressing room before the game. We played Oldham at home, first game of the season. I was looking through the programme, and when I got to the last couple of pages, it had Liverpool's previous 10 years finishing position in the league. Where do you think they finished? The lowest they finished?
I can't even
second.
know. I was about to say, I can't imagine it was that low.
I honestly thought to myself, We got to win today.
Yeah.
First game of the
automatically.
season.
Yeah.
You've got to win every game.
Okay, so you can understand why some of those players might feel as though this is a big leap for me coming to this club, and a club that is still below par, has been below par for a long time. A lot of money's been spent, etc., etc. But the manager has to breed that positive culture. And if he's talking about nerves openly, surely that gets into the psyche as well. And look, we've had a message in from John who says Erik ten Hag has no man management skills. Look at all the problems and players he's ruined, he says. Players he wanted out like Scott McTominay and Harry Maguire. The players, John says, saving him right now.
I don't agree with any of that. I don't think Maguire's good enough to play for Man United. I don't think McTominay...
But he's not done that badly since he's returned into the starting.
He's a great lad.
He didn't start on the other day.
I think he's a great lad, but you're trying to win the league at Man United. You're not trying to finish fourth. You're not trying to finish fifth. You play for Man United. You've got to be the best player in your position in Europe or the world. Like, Man United's midfield players should be the best in the world. They can afford to buy them. They can afford to pay them. Why have you got Fred and McTominay in midfield last year? Like, you can sign the best in the world. They've made mistakes in the transfer market. And is it Ten Hag's fault that Jadon Sancho? Is it his fault or is it Jadon Sancho's fault? Is it all 5 managers' fault that Paul Pogba... People saying they can't get the best out of him. How about getting the best out of yourself? You're supposed to be a top player.
Self-motivation.
Yeah.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.